Hey everybody, this is the American Nightmare, Cody Rosen, and you are listening to the Babyfaces on iHeartRadio.
Hey guys, this is WWE Superstar Tiffany Stratton, and you're listening to the Babyfaces on iHeartRadio.
What's going on, y'all? It's WWE Superstar Kofi Kingston, and you're listening to the Babyfaces on iHeartRadio, baby!
That's right. You know what time it is. It's the Babyfaces on iHeartRadio, the official pro wrestling podcast of iHeartRadio Louisville, powered by 97.5 WAMZ, Kentuckiana's #1 for country. And now most recently, Sports Talk 790 AM here in Louisville. I'm your co-host, Austin Montgomery, back with another full staff. We got Billy the Kid. He's finally back on. He's made some time for us. And we have another special guest. And I've poached you guys for listeners before because I've been on the show. So a couple of them might know who you are from the Skor North podcast, Purple Daily, Mackie and Judd, the executive producer. We got Mr. Declan Goff all the way from Minnesota, dude. How you doing, my man?
Dudes, I'm doing well. First off, that intro. I mean, that's badass.
Like
I love that. Yeah, that was
our graphics department.
In the words of The Rock, like I or to visualize The Rock for the YouTube audience, I got like a little bit of the goosebumps there.
Mono running strong.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, Phil and I, and, for anyone who listened to Purple Daily, Phil Mackey, Judd Zolgad, and myself host the Daily Vikings podcast, and Phil and I are the resident wrestling nerds, and we've gone to wrestling shows before. During the pandemic, we reviewed a bunch of WrestleManias when no sports were going on, and we've always had this idea in the back of our pocket that we want to do a wrestling show, but our hands and our wrists are deep into everything Minnesota sports. We haven't had the time to really carve it out. It's been more of a pipe dream for us. But anytime I can go on another person's podcast and spew some wrestling takes, I'm obviously all for it.
Right. Yeah, no, we appreciate you having coming on. I know I listen to your show daily, so it's really cool. It's like I said this last time I was on, it's almost like talking to a celebrity. And when I know that you guys, have are big wrestling fans and stuff like that, one of the first interviews I listened to, you guys had Natalia on a few years ago, and I'm like, yeah, these guys are pretty legit. So it'd be pretty fun to talk to them. So now we got you on the show. We're based out of Louisville, Kentucky. Our guy Billy, it's been a while since we just done a review show without like a WWE superstar. We've been on a nice little run with having some guests, and we just actually found out, Declan, no one likes to just listen to me and Billy. They only like it when we bring like guests on. So like anything always helps.
Development.
Right. We are the same thing. We started around the pandemic time, and Billy's like, why don't we just do what we're doing in text thread on a podcast? And that's how the Babyfaces was birthed. But nonetheless, we have a huge weekend coming up, the WWE Royal Rumble. So I'm at least going to be in attendance. Billy was on the fence a little bit, but Billy, I don't know if you guys noticed yet, but Billy has, for people that's followed us, Billy, he's expecting a little one on the way. So wrestling it's going to be tough to kind of keep up with, but eventually, whenever that comes through, we're going to get that one into watching wrestling, right?
Yeah, I hope so. It's a baby girl on the way, so girls are a little tougher to convince about wrestling. But we'll see. We'll see if we got a little wrestling fan coming. But yeah, unfortunately, won't be able to make it down to the Rumble. I was really hoping to, with it being in Indianapolis. Just such an easy drive for us. But got some family. Yeah, I know. Family stuff going on, and family comes first. So, but Austin will be there, capturing all the social media, all that he's the one. He does that stuff anyways. I'm just kind of there enjoying it usually. Austin's doing the back end stuff.
Austin, what? I was watching a presser this year. What presser did you get the question through? Was it a Triple H?
It was SummerSlam. I got that LA Knight a question. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like Austin Montgomery, and I was like, wait a minute. That's Austin from Ventline. I was watching that live on the couch.
Yeah,
it's like
dude, I'm not gonna lie.
It's like
I'm sorry, Billy.
DiCaprio meme where he points at the TV. He's like, "Oh, I
yeah,
I know that guy."
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes I'll even go back and listen to it. That was a very proud moment. But that was the only time that they've actually let us into the press conference. That was actually our second time getting to go cover the event as part of media, and they let us in, and that was really, really cool. If there was anybody I wanted to ask a question to, it was LA Knight. He's one of my favorites. So it's going to be a good time. Declan, you ever been to Indianapolis before?
No, man, I haven't. I've heard actually a lot of comps to Minneapolis in terms of like the downtown and the infrastructure, because it's got
Sure.
skyways and convention centers and really good place for like hosting events and hosting people like
Hmm.
that. But no, I have never made it to Indy.
Yeah, it's pretty. I would say I've never been to any. I've never been to Minnesota. I've always wanted to go. The Twin Cities, Minneapolis looks awesome. The U.S. Bank Stadium is that's a bucket list. I've never been to Lucas Oil, but I mean, just driving through Indy, it's like the biggest stadium that you can ever see. So it's really, really cool down there. And it's about time the WWE is starting to do some stuff down there, because they just signed that deal where they're going to have the big 5 pay-per-views over like the next 3-4 years, something like that. And it's kind of a shocker it's taken this long. I mean, Lucas Oil and especially Indy, I mean, they're the resident for the Combine. They've hosted a Super Bowl. They've hosted Final Fours. I'm pretty sure they've hosted a national championship, but they haven't gotten WrestleMania yet, and that seems like it's in the books. But we're taking baby steps, because the Royal Rumble, probably the most exciting pay-per-view that there is. And I've always tried to tell everybody, if you're not like a big fan of wrestling and if you want to watch something to kind of get you in, the Royal Rumble is perfect, because there's going to be like, it's just fast action, especially when you watch that match. And it sets up the storylines for the next couple months that really get you invested. And that's what WWE wants to do, is get you invested that time heading into WrestleMania season. So it's going to be a fun time. Lucas Oil Stadium. You can follow us on Instagram, X, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, depending on if that ever gets shut down. But it's at Babyfaces Pod. We're going to have some fun stuff from the press box, and we're here to talk about it now. Billy, I know you got the card pulled up. You're always really good at going through this, because Declan, I'll sit here and talk, kind of reel me in a little bit. So Billy's going to kind of, I took us off. Billy's going to kind of take over the cockpit seat, the pilot seat. He's going to kind of help land it. So what you got for us, Billy?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Rumble matches we want to spend the most time on, so we'll wait to do those at the end. We got 2 other matches on the card right now, so it's not really a very full card. I expect probably 1 or 2 might be added before Saturday, but we'll see. But as of now, we got the Tag Team Championship and the WWE Championship with Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens. So let's just start with that Tag Team Championship. You got DIY taking on Motor City Machine Guns. Just quickly, how do we feel about this one? We think DIY retains the titles, heads into Mania season as the champs, or is it time to give the Motor City Machine Guns a run? Declan, we'll start with you.
Yeah, and in 2 out of 3, right?
Yes, sir.
It's a 2 out of 3 falls match. So
I didn't even know that.
I like DIY. The tag. I feel like the tag team, they're trying their absolute best for years to like get the tag team division back to what it used to be. I mean, I was spoiled. You guys were probably spoiled too with the early 2000s of transitioning from the Attitude Era to Ruthless Aggression, and you had just tag teams for days, and those were honestly just as marquee as anything in the main events. And obviously, a lot of the times, tag team matches and prolific matches like that were main events. But I think DIY probably comes out on top here. Probably because it's 2 out of 3 falls, right? We're going to have a rubber match, so I'm sure 1-on-1, and then something happens with the 3. But I think DIY definitely retains.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there. I think DIY is probably going to take it. I've never been like the biggest Ciampa Gargano fan. I'm not going to lie. I've always kind of liked Ciampa. I think he's kind of been in the background of things for a long time, and he's just now sort of got his shot. He's like 40 years old, something like that. But I know that he's a fan favorite, and I know that DIY is a fan favorite. But I also know that Motor City Machine Guns, once they first got to WWE, that was a huge signing, because a lot of people were expecting them to go to AEW. That kind of fits their style with the 5-star matches, flippity flop, all that kind of stuff. Not that we're knocking that. I mean, I sometimes do online, but I think that's probably going to be like your workhorse match, considering it's a 2 out of 3 falls. It's going to be a ton. You think you like false finishes? That's going to have a ton of false finishes in there. And I know they got on Motor City Machine Guns very strong when they first busted on the scene and they took the championships. But I think they have enough reputation, and everyone's you're just squashing them. And I think Triple H is, ever since this kind of fits his wrestling style and everything that he's done and worked with NXT, and now he's like the head honcho there. This is something like a match that he's gonna love, and he's not gonna take it as whenever they lose that they're just burying them. Everyone knows, and he's very in touch with the internet community. He knows that they have a reputation, and taking this loss to one of his guys, DIY, it's not going to do a lot to their reputation. So I see DIY winning this match just as well.
I'll be different. I'll go with the Motor City Machine Guns. Like you said, it was a big signing, and I feel like they've been gaining some steam over on SmackDown lately. So let's mix it up. Put some new champs in the tag team division and see if that helps to kind of like you're saying, get the tag team division heading in the right direction, because it does seem like it's been a little stagnant as of late. So yeah, I'll take the Machine Guns for the win, new tag team champs. All right, moving on to the WWE Championship. Cody Rhodes defending, of course, in a ladder match where the Undisputed Championship and the Winged Eagle Championship will be hanging from the rafters, taking on Kevin Owens. This has been a rivalry going on for quite a few months now. How do we see this one going? Do we see a new champ on Saturday, or Cody taking the belt further into Mania season?
I think Cody retains, but I do feel, and especially after watching that promo to close Raw a few nights ago, it feels like we're starting to get a little bit of a shift with Cody Rhodes and the fans. It kind of reminds me of when John Cena won his first WWE title, and then some of that shine kind of eventually wore off. Like Edge cashed in at Money in the Bank, but then he goes back in at WrestleMania 22, and he's kind of getting booed, actually. Fans are cheering for Triple H, and he becomes kind of the heel, and fans get sick of him, and they start booing Cena all the time. I feel like we're heading towards some type of build where Cody is no longer this lovable babyface that he typically is. I think we're on a slow burn for that. I think that starts now. But I believe he'll still retain this title. I'd be pretty surprised if they took the belt off him for Rumble. I'll save my pick for the Rumble match, but it feels like he should retain. But I do think we're percolating towards some type of twist with Cody going forward.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you, because he seemed like a different Cody Rhodes, right? And everyone's like, I mean, you're familiar with the Homelander thing, right? Have you ever watched The Boys, Declan? So like he just so happens to look like him with the white hair and the once glorified superhero. And I don't know. I think we're kind of reaching that level too. I've always, and we can kind of talk about going forward. I always thought that this is WWE's chance to kind of reverse what they didn't do with John Cena and make him the heel. And obviously Cody Rhodes has played that heel, and that him being a heel, and the whole American Nightmare thing was his heel persona when he first left WWE and was doing all that in the Indies. So I think that this is the build towards that. And here's a funny thing. I think that there's money in that. I didn't know that there's really money in John Cena turning heel, but I mean, I tried telling this because I was a Cody denier for the longest time, because I'm a huge Roman Reigns fan. And a couple years ago when they had the first match at WrestleMania, I was convinced, like, this is not the match I wanted to see. Like, Cody is not that guy. He shouldn't be on Roman Reigns' level. He's not like this babyface that everyone should love. He comes out in expensive suits, right? The nice hair. He has all this verbiage and like his vocabulary, like, he's someone that you should hate because he's richer than you. He looks better than you. He's got the tattoo on the neck. And I think we're slowly building towards that. And I think that that's going to be a fun one. But, obviously my opinions have changed. Hell, Cody Rhodes has come on the show a couple of times. And and Billy ratted me out by saying that we were big Roman Reigns fans. And but he was a good sport about it. He's really cool. Everything that he's done in terms of like the fans, dude, he sticks around after the show for like an hour to take pictures and stuff like that. But now I think they're kind of really cooking with that. And I do, and just kind of answer the question long-winded. Yeah, he does end up retaining. So what's the whole deal with like the two belts? I've never really understood that with KO. And I know it's not like a unification thing, because I know that the Winged Eagle isn't sticking around, but for the longest time, everyone thought once Cody won it at WrestleMania that was going to be the new belt going forward. I just kind of think that this is their way, I guess, of just kind of bringing it back for the nostalgia and having it, and hell, maybe trying to make a couple extra bucks off the shop.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of a nostalgia grab, like you said, kind of scratching the itch for the fans that wanted to see it. I doubt we'll see it past this pay-per-view, but maybe I'll be wrong. Obviously, the nostalgia of it's cool. I think it'd be cool to see it at a major show like the Rumble. But I like what you guys both said, how WWE is really, they're not shying away from the fact that there's an inevitable, downhill turn with babyfaces, right? He hit the peak of babyface last year when he beats Roman at WrestleMania. inevitably there is some sort of drop off that comes, right? So now we're here almost a year later into this title run. That's, I think it's approaching 300 days or over it by now. And it getting kind of stale for Cody Rhodes, right? And this is their way of avoiding it getting stale, like it did for Cena all those years back then. And they just kind of ignored it and just kept rolling with the Super Cena thing over and over and over again. And people turned on it eventually. So I think they're trying to avoid that with Cody and make it a little bit more natural. I love the promo on Monday night between him and CM Punk. I wasn't really convinced.
Shouted out OVW here in Louisville too.
Yeah, that was really cool. I wasn't really convinced of that being a potential WrestleMania match until I saw that promo.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of meat on the bone between those two guys and what they can do on a full road to WrestleMania. They're both full-time guys. They're there every night. I think they can produce a really, really cool story out of it. And I think Monday was just the beginning of that. So with all that said, obviously I will also take Cody to retain the belt. I think this will be a fun match. These two have good chemistry. Kevin Owens always puts on great matches in spots like this, but I don't think it's really in question that Cody is going to walk into WrestleMania as champ. It's really who is he going to face and who is going to dethrone him at that.
I know what I want.
So we'll get in that soon. Hold that thought. Let's jump to the Women's Rumble first because I assume the Men's Rumble will most likely main event the night. So we got the 30-woman Royal Rumble. I think only like 9 names have been announced for it so far. So this could be one where we see a lot of surprises, maybe some TNA crossover. What we like to do with the Rumble, as you guys know that have been listening for a while, we like to give our final 4. We like to give like a breakout star of the match, maybe a couple props like Iron Man or most eliminations. And then, of course, ultimately our winner of the match. So, Declan, with that said, man, I'll turn it over to you. How we feeling for the Women's Rumble?
Yeah, look, they've had some really good ones the last few years, and I love Bayley. Bayley's been one of my favorite wrestlers ever since she debuted from NXT. I love that she went basically the distance last year, wins the Rumble, has the great WrestleMania match, but it feels like to me, it just seems like they're kind of going to be playing the greatest hits album here with their women's Royal Rumble match, and Charlotte's going to be back, which is awesome. Like, I think that's great. And spoiler alert, she is my pick. Like, I think Charlotte wins this match.
Okay.
I think it just makes too much sense. The thing is like, what is the buildup? Because like Becky isn't confirmed, but like it's kind of going to be like the worst kept secret. Like she's not confirmed, but you're probably going to see her in the ring and come back for the first time in like almost a year, which will be interesting. And then like Asuka's been kind of quiet lately. I think Io's probably the one that steals the show. I think Io's the one that probably goes the distance, probably does has the longest, tenure in the ring, probably starts early and goes, the 45 minutes to an hour or something like that. But I would say Charlotte wins, and then final 4 would be Charlotte, Becky, Io, Asuka.
Okay.
I would like to think they probably do have like a push from like Valkyrie or Jordana Grace. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if an NXT or a TNA crossover kind of jumps in here and does sneak into that final 4, and it probably is a safe assumption. But I just feel like I'm trying to get a good grip of what they want to do with the women's division building into Mania, and to me, it just feels like, and I don't hate going back to Charlotte, even though she's also kind of been the ruler of that division for the better part of the last decade, but I think Charlotte comes back and they win and she wins the Rumble, and then they kind of build up the storyline from there.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be kind of with you on that. I think Io Sky probably has the potential to be like the show stealer in the women's match, but also just go ahead and spoil it real quick. I do kind of like Charlotte to win it. I think that they're eventually wanting to get to the Charlotte Tiffany Stratton match, which has money written all over it. And I would love to see that at WrestleMania. You got 2 freakishly athletic women, and you have Tiffany Stratton's one of the best things going on right now. And I think that Charlotte Flair is probably one of the greatest women's wrestlers of all time, probably is one of the biggest stars, obviously, with her name. But I think I'm going to, I know that Becky hasn't been announced, but I could totally probably see her in there. And I like Bayley to possibly be in that final 4, Becky, Charlotte. And I don't know, like you said, there's going to be a lot of surprises with TNA, NXT. You're probably going to see some Roxanne Perez or Jada Parker, one of the new bloods come in. but I can totally see they just signed Jordan Grace. So I definitely think that she's going to want to have a good showing. I could see her in that Final Four too. And I could see her kind of battling along with Io Sky as having probably the more impressive, like, run through the Royal Rumble, but I could see that. And Charlotte Flair obviously getting the hero's welcome. It's been forever since we've seen her in a WWE ring. So I think that she comes back. And for a lot of the times, I think the fans are probably tired of seeing her in the spotlight. But I think that absence grows, the heart grows fonder, right? So that's what they say. And I'm pretty sure that's going to be the case here. So give me Charlotte, and I see Charlotte, Tiffany Stratton WrestleMania match.
It's too bad that I think Dakota Kai, the word is that she got injured like on a house show.
Yeah, she's always injured.
Yeah, if she wasn't hurt, I would love to see her get a push. Like, she's awesome. She is always hurt, which stinks.
Big Dakota Kai fan, huh?
Love Dakota Kai, but I feel like we could build like something between Dakota and Io and like just riff up that damage control even more.
Sure.
But it's too bad that she got hurt, because I do think, I'm going to just assume internally, I bet she was part of their plans long term with this Rumble match.
So when I look at the Rumble, I mean, obviously I look ahead and then I kind of backtrack from there, right? So looking ahead to WrestleMania, what's the plan? When I'm looking on the Raw side, Rhea's the champion. I think the most likely challenger for her is probably Io Sky on that side. And then on the SmackDown side, you got Tiffany Stratton as the champion, and Charlotte, like we mentioned, I think has money written all over it, right? I mean, we actually had Tiffany Stratton on the show before, and we talked about the potential of that match. And she mentioned that as a match that, we asked her a dream opponent, and she mentioned Charlotte. So I think that is inevitable that one's going to happen at WrestleMania, right? But I don't think that it is through Charlotte winning the Rumble, because I think they're going to kind of toe a fine line with Charlotte, knowing that she has so many accolades and people get tired of her. Like you said, absence makes the heart grow fonder. I think there will be that case with Charlotte, and they don't want to ruin that by having her just run through everybody in the Rumble and win. So I think her road is a little tougher to WrestleMania. They make her go through like a chamber or something to win number one contender. I think Io Sky is the right decision here. So okay. I will take her to win and go on to face Rhea at WrestleMania. So obviously she's in my Final Four. Charlotte will be in the Final Four, no doubt. They'll probably be the last two, is what I would think. I also like Liv Morgan to be in the Final Four. It seems like every year Liv finds herself in the Final Four, Final Two, and I think that can just add to her story a little bit of like always just being so close to winning the Rumble and kind of being a Rumble specialist type wrestler. And then my last one in the Final Four, was it Becky Lynch that I had? Yeah, I think Becky. Becky's gonna come back. I think that's for sure. They need bodies. They got 10 announced right now, so they're gonna need some bodies in there. And then as far as like breakout superstars from it, you guys mentioned Jordan Grace. She's been heavily rumored. She actually tweeted today, though. It was kind of I don't know if she's trying to put people off the scent a little bit, but she tweeted like a plane ticket that she's going to be in a different city for her mom's birthday or something. So I don't know. That feels like it could be her just kind of
sounds like a work,
muddy in the waters. Right. Exactly. I think if she is in there, she'll probably have a really good showing, maybe most eliminations or something like that. And then like Declan mentioned, Lyra Valkyria, I feel like they're pretty high on her, and she could have a good, Iron Man type showing, maybe starts the match at number one. And, she's that one where it's like Lyra's been in there for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. And then, eventually she gets eliminated towards the end. So, I'll go different from you guys. I'll take Io. I still think that we all are in the agreement of that Charlotte is probably going to challenge Tiffany for the title at Mania, though. So with that said, let's go on to the main event, boys. And this is all I always like to recommend this to our listeners, and you obviously do this for the women's match as well. If you're having like a watch party for the Rumble, you got people over, write down all the numbers 1 through 30. Cut them up, put them in a hat. Have an entry fee for, X amount of wrestlers that you can buy, whether it's $1 per wrestler, $5 per wrestler, whatever it might be.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So you got
did that last year at your house.
I know. You got a big pot of money at the end. All right. So let's say you bought 5 wrestlers. You pick 5 numbers out of the hat. You don't know what wrestlers those are until they come out. You got number 17. All right. Becky just came out at 17. She's one of mine. And then, you could have props where like, if they're in the Final Four, you get some money, or if just one big pot, they win, they get some money. It's always a fun thing to do. So I like to recommend that to our listeners if you will be having a watch party. But Austin will be there in person, so it's a lot cooler.
Right. Be weird to gamble on it.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so men's Rumble match. Declan, let's kick it off with you.
All right, so I love John Cena. John Cena, as Santino calls him.
John Cena.
I love him. He gets such a bad rap because he exited out of the Attitude and Ruthless Aggression, or kicked off the Ruthless Aggression era, and everyone's like, he's not The Rock. Yeah, he's not The Rock, but he carried the company on its back for 13 years. He's on the retirement tour. I am all for this dude getting the elusive 17th title. I think that's great. He should. He deserves it. I just don't think it makes a lot of sense for them to have for the WWE to have him win the Rumble, and we're just kind of going back to like an old Vince McMahon way of like, let's put an older person over because it's the last time through. Now, could he like challenge Gunther at WrestleMania through the Chamber or through some type of tournament or a triple threat, or he wins it at SummerSlam or sometime down the road? I'm all for that. Do it. I don't think he should win the Rumble, though. I think he's in the Final Four. He's probably going to be near the end of the entrance, probably like one of the last 5 guys. But I don't have Cena winning this Rumble. I do have him in the Final Four. I think CM Punk and Seth Rollins are definitely in that Final Four as well. It just makes a lot of sense for them to be there. I love Punk on the mic is still incredible, man. I mean, he legitimately might be the best on the microphone of all time. Like better than The Rock, better than anyone. He can just spit it better than anyone and throw it in your face. Blurs that line of reality and fiction better than anyone too. The only issue I have, and we saw it last year, and we've seen it even at times this year, Punk on the mic is great, but the dude cannot go for more than like 20 minutes without looking completely gassed. And I don't like watching my favorite wrestlers basically crawling their way just to get through a 20-minute match. So I Punk's going to be in the Final Four. I just don't know how long he'll be in it for, and I also just don't think it's the best way to have him in a WrestleMania main event. I wouldn't hate it. I could be talked into it, but it's not my first choice. Seth Rollins, should be in the mix too. It just makes a lot of sense. I would say the person I have stealing the show, or like the one I like to call the Gunther, like 2 years ago when Gunther, went an hour plus and no one's really saw that coming, and he almost wins the GD Rumble, and then he gets pushed to be the World Heavyweight Champion. I'm going to go with Jacob Fatu. I think Fatu is a one that they're going to push heavily here out of the bloodline. He's a freak of nature. He's an absolute stud. Braun Breaker's in this mix as well. I think Fatu is the one that I look at of, okay, I think I can see him going for a while. I can see him eliminating like 9 to 10 people and just cleaning house left and right. I would love to see that, but I'm probably going to get more props from Austin here. I have Roman Reigns winning this Rumble.
Wow.
I think we have a three-peat. I think we have the rubber match between Cody and Roman Reigns, and we start to shift, right? Like it's going to be the same thing. I think we're going to see by the time that match starts and the bell rings that people are rooting for Roman Reigns and they're turned on Cody Rhodes. I want to see the three-peat. I was so pissed the first time this happened and Roman's retained. I was so mad. It led to a great story, led to a great finish, and here we are again. And I'm like, yes, for the 3rd year in a row, give me the same main event. So I have Reigns winning this match. I have him facing Cody at WrestleMania. I have Punk and Cena and Seth in the Final Four. And I have Jacob Fatu as kind of the show stealer, the one that, kind of surprises us all. That's kind of my men's Rumble take.
So yeah, that's I mean, I've been basically calling for, and it's no secret anyone that's listened to all the few people that do, when it's just me and Billy, when we sit here and talk about what our aspirations are, I've been wanting to see Rock versus Roman for, my God, so many years, and they just been teasing us so much within the last year and a half, and we're just almost on that precipice. We had it last year. We literally had it, and it got taken away by the Cody crybabies. It was in our hands, and that's why I was mad at the first one, because I don't want to see him versus Cody. The only reason I bought my tickets to go to that. It's Hollywood. The Bloodline story was absolute peak at that point, and it's still one of the best things going. But like having Rock interjected in that in Hollywood, LA, the stage, like that was it, and it didn't happen. And it finally happened last year, but the way that they went about it with Rock just coming in and kind of taking Cody's spot, was a little bit weird, but it still turned out to be a fantastic build, a fantastic lead up, and lead into probably the greatest WrestleMania main event and the biggest jam-packed action I've ever seen in a wrestling match, with all those returns and all that sort of stuff. So, I mean, I don't know where Rock fits in here, and it just seems like whenever because I wasn't really into watching. I mean, I've always been a WWE fan, but like I wasn't heavily invested like I am now back when they had the Rock and Cena first match, and they did a whole year build for that match. I can only imagine when they do the Rock versus Roman Reigns could possibly be the biggest WrestleMania main event ever if done right. They're probably going to want a lot more promotion than 3 months. I don't know where the Rock fits in with the match. I could totally see him getting involved somehow, getting in a Bloodlines ear again and sort of kind of running that. But I agree with you. Jacob Fatu is probably going to be the workhorse. He's everything that I think the WWE wanted Solo to be. And I like Solo, but Jacob's just got it naturally, dude. I mean, he could cut a promo. I mean, he's vicious. He's a freaking ex-con. And so like that comes out on the screen. He comes out as dangerous, someone that you don't want to F with in an alley. So I could totally see him. And this is where it hurts me. But I could see Roman going on a streak and then him getting eliminated by Fatu, or them just kind of bringing back the new bloodline to kind of help screw him over that match, and they kind of do something to lead up in there. But it's hard to not see Roman Reigns in a main event at WrestleMania, especially on the run that he's on. He's the biggest star WWE's had in so long. So my heart wants to say Roman Reigns, but something in my head is telling them like they brought CM Punk back for a reason. He's been featured for a reason. And part of that bargaining chip is he's never main evented a WrestleMania before. Yeah. And it just seems that if he wins, he's going to go after Cody because he said that on Raw. But I don't know how much what a Cody CM Punk match does for WrestleMania. So I'm kind of caught between the edge. Something tells me in my head, because it's trying to get away Austin. They're not doing Rock Roman. My wonderful fiance is just telling me to get off of it already. But I'm never going to let that dream die. So that's going to come down eventually. And I just always imagine that third rubber match between Cody and Roman, that the roles would finally be reversed. The last couple of years, people are you cannot have Roman Reigns win 2 straight years. I think the rubber match is going to be completely reversed. We're going to have heel Cody somehow. So I don't know. I think I might go with you, dude. I think Roman Reigns probably wins this, and I think we get that third Cody Roman match. And I think that The Rock factors in somehow with an interference or like special guest referee. Yeah. He's going to bring back his final boss thing at some point. He's been featured on TV, but for the longest time, you remember they were talking about Rock and Cody at WrestleMania. They still never finished up that thing after the Raw WrestleMania last year. He handed Cody something and he told him, "Don't ever break my heart again." And he said, "Your story with Roman Reigns is finished, but we're not through." So I don't know. WWE sometimes likes to leave you in the dust and never bring up things again. It could be a classic case of that. But give me Roman Reigns, and I think he's going to be in there with CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, also a friend of the show we just had on a couple weeks ago. Drew McIntyre, I think, is going to factor into that Final Four. I think John Cena is going to be there, and maybe Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is a workhorse too. I could probably just see them, as Declan referred to earlier, greatest hits. Just throw in your 4 biggest stars, and there they are. I'm not seeing any crazy outside person that makes it. I think you just kind of go cut and dry some of the biggest stars that are there, some of your favorites, and I think that's what you have. So give me Roman Reigns. I'm going with my heart on this one, Billy.
So like I said, I always look ahead, right? What do I foresee at WrestleMania? And this is my dilemma, really, because you have basically 3 guys that could challenge for the world title, and I don't think they're going to do some sort of triple threat or anything like that. I feel like it's not heading towards that. But you got CM Punk that could go after Cody Rhodes. We talked about that earlier, right? You got John Cena on his quest to break the world title record. But then where does that leave Roman Reigns, your biggest star in the industry right now? If he isn't going to face The Rock this year, like you said, I doubt they would kind of hot shot it this quickly, but maybe they do, right? Maybe they do. Maybe The Rock does make an appearance at this event and eliminates Roman Reigns or something with outside interference and sets that up, and boom, we're full steam ahead, Rock versus Roman in the main event. And then you can do these other 2 title matches. Who knows? But that's kind of my dilemma when I'm looking at it, is because I don't see where the Roman Reigns, puzzle piece fits into the puzzle. And that's a problem. I mean, he's the guy, right? So I'm not going to pick him to win because I just don't think they're going to do Roman and Cody again. It would not surprise me if they did. but I really do think that this is CM Punk's time. Like I felt like it was last year too, and obviously got injured, and they weren't going that direction anyway. But like you said, one of the bigger reasons that CM Punk came back to WWE is because he hasn't won the Rumble, he hasn't main evented WrestleMania, he hasn't had that marquee WrestleMania match yet, and I think it's perfectly set up to do it this year. I really do. You got Cody Rhodes in this kind of weird part of his title reign. You got perennial fan favorite CM Punk that gets involved with that. They have a lot of history with the whole AEW tie-ins and all that. So I just think that that's a money feud, and it gives Cody something a little more fresh to do at WrestleMania. It gives Roman something else to do. I'm not sure what that is. And then you got the John Cena factor in it too, right? But I feel like just giving John Cena, just giving him this Rumble win and kind of going that cookie cutter route like Vince McMahon would do is just not the way to do it, right? He's got to go through a little bit more hard times and build, sort of that Kofi Mania or Daniel Bryan type hype.
Yeah.
Where they had to go through so many obstacles to eventually, all right, finally he's getting that title match and they're all in on it. So I think that it's a little too soon to get Cena on that path. I think Elimination Chamber is probably a better way to do that, and go after Gunther for the world title. I think that is a pretty, obvious opponent for him. That's always been kind of an obvious type of villain for John Cena to work with, right? Kind of a foreign dude, big guy, been
the imperialist
people, monster heel, and John Cena's the American hero that comes in and saves the day. It's a tale as old as time with wrestling. So I'll have Punk in the Final Four, obviously, and my winner to go on to face Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. I'll have John Cena in my Final Four. He will not win. He will win the Chamber and go on to face Gunther at WrestleMania. I'll have Roman Reigns in my Final Four because I think he's obviously going to be there, being your biggest star. Does The Rock get involved in eliminate him? Does the Bloodline get in there and eliminate him? I don't know. We'll see. That's always fun with the Rumble matches. There's always little Easter eggs that kind of tell you, what guys are heading towards a WrestleMania, even if they don't win. Then my last part of the Final Four will be Drew McIntyre. So the same Final Four as you had in Austin. I think Drew is kind of that wild card in here where like you could see him maybe winning for some reason, just kind of mix it up a little bit. He's always a force in matches like this anyway. So I think
they gave him the Money in the Bank earlier, which and he ended up cashing it in that day. So I mean they let him win the damn title at WrestleMania too. So I mean he's still in high graces, and he's still someone that they can rely on having a big moment, and it will be believable.
Yeah, no doubt. And then as far as my breakout star, I'll go with Penta, the new signing. I think that they have
that's right.
I think they got big plans for him this Mania season. I don't know what that looks like, whether what his opponent is and whatnot, but I think they'll feature him pretty heavily. He'll enter pretty early in the Rumble and last a long time, have some cool high spots, big eliminations type deal. So give me Penta as the breakout star, Punk to win, and we'll just kind of go from there.
Let me go ahead and ask you this. Now that we kind of got that out of the way, so there's a lot to unpack with. They had the CM Punk and this promise that he was made from Paul Heyman, and then they put that back on the screen when they had Drew McIntyre come out and try to threaten Paul Heyman again and told him to send the message to CM Punk, and also with the whole John Cena Gunther thing. I feel like I was always the biggest deter of them having two championships and bringing that new one out, the World Heavyweight Championship. Now it's kind of like ingrained in what they're doing, but I feel like it would maybe behoove them because last year's winner, it was Cody Rhodes, and you knew that he was going to go after Roman Reigns, the WWE Undisputed Champion. But now you have the World Heavyweight Champion. Wouldn't you think that they would one of these years have a winner that actually wants to go after that title? Because anybody that wins and they're like, screw Gunther's title, I want to go after the real one. You got to have that relevancy built up for that title, that someone wants to win the Rumble and wants that title from Gunther. So that would be interesting to see. What are some other, not necessarily breakout, what are some big surprises? I mean, obviously there's a lot of fan favorites that could be coming over from either NXT or now TNA's in the involvement. I mean, I think it's obvious, right? We're going to see Joe Hendry appear at the Royal Rumble, right? But do you guys have any any surprises, any big pops that you think is going to show up and be a part of it?
I would love to see. I think he was asked on the red carpet by Denise, but I love X-Pac, man. I love X-Pac.
X-Pac.
And I know he probably can't go for very long. Like, he basically comes out there, the music hits, you get the pop, and he lasts,
Do a
2.5
Bronco Buster
minutes.
one last time.
Exactly. You get a Bronco Buster, an X Factor, and, Jacob Fatu throws him out of the ring in 3 minutes. But, like, you still get the pop, you get the return, you get some of that. I would like to see that. I wonder what their plan is for your guy, LA Knight, Austin. Like, I love LA Knight, too. I'm a big LA Knight fan. And it feels like some of that shine has now worn off a bit in the last 6 months. And the worst problem is like when that shine wears off and then you're stuck in mid-card like hell and territory forever. Like, what is their plan long-term with him? Like, I would love to see him get a push, but there's definitely like way too many bigger horses that are above him where it's like, are they going to really push LA Knight when CM Punk and Roman Reigns, there's always great stories out there.
Right.
I think that one's also like interesting to watch because I don't like to see him just buried in the mid-card range, but I don't know what their long-term plan is.
Yeah, I'm with you with that. I mean, I think that me and Austin have said it forever. He's got megastar written all over him, but it does seem like he's just been kind of can't get through that proverbial glass ceiling because there's just so many other guys. And I think surely he'll have a good showing, and hopefully we'll get maybe a tease for whatever his Mania program will be. I hope he gets a singles match. Maybe let us throw him into a ladder match for one of the mid-card titles or something like they like to do. But I'd like to see something from him. As far as a surprise entrance, I think Dolph Ziggler is probably an obvious one.
Oh, that's right.
Just with the whole TNA crossover, and he's been their TNA champ for a while before he just lost it to Joe Hendry. So I think Joe Hendry is another potential. But Dolph Ziggler, come out to his old music. I think that would get a pretty big pop.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty cool. And Billy's huge Dolph Ziggler fan.
I was a big Ziggler guy. I was actually just watching Rumble 2012 earlier while I was working, and he was against CM Punk for the title in that one, and he was in the Rumble match right after that. So he was their workhorse, man. He was good.
Big Dolph Ziggler fan. I think another person we're not factoring in here, and it's obviously someone WWE holds in high regards, but Logan Paul. A lot of people are going to hate it. I would not mind. I wouldn't say I wouldn't mind, but I would not be shocked if he is in the Final Four. But I can also see I don't think they're going to give John Cena a title run like immediately. I know that that's probably the goal, that they want to give him that championship at some point. But I could see Logan Paul mixing it up with John Cena at WrestleMania. I could possibly see him being Cena's on a run in the Royal Rumble, and what bigger a-hole than Logan Paul to be the one that's halt all that momentum and throw him out, and boom, now you got Cena, Logan Paul. I think it's obviously two of the bigger stars that you have in wrestling. So that I think that one could be pretty fun. But as far as LA Knight, yeah, sadly, I think he'll probably get thrown into some other like Intercontinental Championship, like ladder match or something. Right. But he's a pro too. I'm pretty sure that he wouldn't mind being world champion, but he knows where the money's at, and he knows that all he needs to come out, say his couple catchphrases, sell some shirts, insult some people, get on the mic, and then he's over. These guys, at the core value of it, these wrestlers, they're workers, and all they want is a paycheck. And he's fought his whole life from the indie scenes to get where he is. So I'm pretty sure he's just happy to be there. So anytime that he's featured and anytime he gets to come out and basically do your shit, pal, then he's fine to do that. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with him. I don't think he necessarily needs a world title, but it would be pretty fun, because when he had that stuff with Roman Reigns and he ended up facing him in Saudi Arabia, that was some fun stuff.
Hell yeah. Yeah. With Logan, I'll start with obviously back with LA. Like I love LA Knight. He's great on the mic. He's phenomenal. He's definitely got megastar written. I mean, he's up there in age, right? I think he's almost 40, if not 40 now. So like he was a late bloomer to get over, but with Logan Paul, man, like he is a lot more athletic than I certainly give him credit for. And he is he's good, and they hate him. And I'm all for fans booing the hell out of him. But God, if a ring could explode in March with him and his brother falling into the earth, I wouldn't be upset. Like I would not be upset about that.
They're supposed to be fighting each other or something, aren't they?
Is that real?
Yes, they're gonna fight
that's a
each
real
other,
picture.
I think, right?
It's a real picture of them facing off, but I've seen internet rumors that that's just going to be like a reality show with them or something. But like, I don't know.
Like, why am I getting wasted with my Royal Rumble guys, with guys like that are part timers that aren't like legit. Like if you gotta earn your status to be the part-timer.
Oh, of
and
course.
Logan Paul, you haven't earned anything, man. So I wouldn't be shocked if they push him, but I will still be upset at any outcome.
Yeah, the roof would explode in a bad way if he eliminates John Cena, like you're saying. God. If Cena comes in, could you imagine if Cena, like, he comes in at like 25 and it's like business just picked up, he's clearing house, and then all of a sudden Logan Paul drop kicks him from behind and he goes over.
They're gonna hate it, pal.
Yeah, that would be what Vince would do, no doubt about it. I don't think it's what Triple H will do, but crazier things have happened. So that's the beauty of the Rumble. You never know what's gonna happen. We always see, like I said, like little Easter eggs within the match that kind of tell you what their plans are for Mania, which is always fun. And obviously we'll find out who's going to challenge for the world title in the main event of WrestleMania for both the men's and the women's. So it's one of the more exciting nights in wrestling as we officially start the road to WrestleMania 41, which I am super pumped about. And yeah, we'll kind of put a bow on it with that. You guys got any final thoughts?
I basically, once again, I just want to thank Declan for coming on. I appreciate your time, dude. I know that we could probably go another 2 hours talking about all this, and it's just fun. Wrestling is still a fun getaway for everybody, and it seems like it's back in pop culture now. Like people accept it. ESPN's tweeting about it and making memes about it and stuff like that. It's on SportsCenter, Bleacher Report, all that kind of fun stuff. So it's fun to see it like now be sort of cool again. And the whole factor of it being on Netflix, I still think they're kind of getting their feet under them where they don't even have a time limit. They can say cuss words and stuff like that. It's this whole buildup now that they have that platform is going to be pretty fun. And just the selfish part of me, I want to see some Rock, dude. I want to get further with that story. I've been waiting for a long time for this. So it should be pretty fun, and I just can't wait for it. Once again, Declan, thank you so much. Do you have any last second shout outs? I know you guys over there, my guy Phil Mackey, likes now that you have this grand platform and everything that you've ever wished for. Is there anyone that you'd like to thank or shout out or plug? Where can people listen to your show at?
Yeah, you can find Purple Daily wherever you get your podcasts. It's on YouTube as well. Same with all of Minnesota sports. So if you're a Minnesota sports fan down in Louisville, you can go check us out. Skor North, basically anywhere on YouTube or Apple, Spotify, doesn't matter. And I guess last take, X-Pac, if you come back, give that Bronco Buster Logan Paul. Just ride him, cowboy. I'm all for it, man. I would love to see him embarrassed. So I'm looking forward to it, guys. Like you said, like Royal Rumble, like marquee, one of my favorite days of the entire year. I'm excited. I can't wait for it.
And we will see if Austin's dream comes true of The Rock getting involved and setting up a Roman program. I don't think that's in the cards, but hey, never say never with the Rumble. Let's go. Keep positive mindset. We're gonna get what if he comes out number 31? A lot of people have kind of like teased that, like, because he's the TKO guy, right? He runs the show.
No Blue Chew will be needed if that happens.
Okay,
that will be everything that I'll need for that, because this is something I've been waiting for, Billy, for my whole life. I built this brick by brick, my reputation for this match. And I mean, got to play that final boss character somehow. I mean, last time we seen him on screen, he was chummying up with Cody Rhodes and like a TKO executives shaking babies and kissing hands. And it's going to be interesting to see. But, we really wish that you could be there, Billy. And of course, you all know that you could follow us on Instagram, on X, on Facebook, on YouTube. That's where this is going to be the video version. And going to have a lot of fun stuff from the press box. There's always some fun stuff to go up there. All the other chummy people up there that I'm going to be rubbing elbows with. The Chris Van Vliet. Might run into Diamond Dallas Page again. I know that was pretty fun. And all the other WWE wrestling influencers. So it's going to be fun. We're going to have some exclusive stuff. And I'm ready to check out Lucas Oil Stadium.
Yeah, Lucas Oil is an awesome venue. I've been there for football, but I imagine that wrestling there will be really cool. So, I'm excited to see how Indy does hosting. They're usually phenomenal with big events. It's rumored that WrestleMania might be coming to Indy in a couple of years.
Yeah, we hope.
I mean, that would be legit, and I will be there for that.
Be an easier trip than we made up to Philly.
Exactly, unless I have another kid, which I got.
Keep it in your pants, buddy.
No Blue Chew. All right, let's end it with that. Rumble going down this Saturday. Declan, thanks so much, man. It was awesome. We're the Babyfaces, and we will talk to you guys next time.